to be talking about hyperpigmentation and discoloration today. And Sherry's passion really started with for skincare really started with acne and hyperpigmentation that she was experiencing herself. So this is close to her heart, and she has been spending a lot of years learning about it. So we are excited to have you, and I'm going to turn things over to you, Sherry. Thank you for being here.
Aw, thank you so much, Natasha. It's my absolute pleasure to be here. I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the brand, but it's really cool for me because I have looked to Lovely Skin for a long time as a source of information and a source that you can trust online, as well as in practice, just kind of over a neighbor for me in the Midwest. So shout out to all my Midwest peeps for sure that answered that poll. So I really kind of have a tendency to fangirl a little bit when I get to do this. And I know I've said that before, but it's the absolute truth. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and chat with all of you guys. I'm super thrilled. So like Natasha said, pop your questions in the Q&A feature. It will go to them. I'll also try to keep an eye on it, but we'll save time at the end to make sure that we answer the majority of questions that come through. And like Natasha said, I have a legitimate soft spot for discoloration as a whole. When it's unwanted discoloration, my heart just goes pitter patter because I know what it's like to have discoloration. I know what it's like to have melasma. I know what that's like. I know what it can do to your psyche. I understand how you maybe don't even realize how much you don't walk so tall and proud into a room as you maybe could when you didn't have those unwanted brown spots or brown patches, that discoloration that we get. And it can really affect us. I will share my personal story is back in the day. It feels like yesterday, but thank goodness it wasn't. I wasn't, first, we're all friends, right? So I can go ahead and tell you my story and you won't judge me too harshly. So back in the day, I would jet ski quite a bit. And I did it every day after work, and I did it all day on Saturday and Sunday. I mean, my life was jet skiing. I would jet ski in the rain. It hurts a little bit, I'm not going to lie, but I would jet ski even in the rain. So the part that I say we're friends now is because I didn't wear sunscreen ever. I couldn't even say it was in my makeup because it wasn't. So after maybe a year or so of jet skiing like that, I started to get brown patches. I mean, it didn't even start with like little spots. And a lot of times we can call them, I have some freckles. I hear people of a certain age groups call them age spots. No matter if you think they're freckles, they're age spots, they're brown spots, whatever, a lot of times are coming from the same source, which we could anticipate it is the sun. So I went straight from pretty good skin to, it seemed like overnight, large brown patches on my skin. I had them on my cheeks, I had it on my forehead, and I started to get it where no woman really wants a dark brown patch, is above my lip. And I will tell you that I had the hardest time. I didn't know what to do. I bought theatrical makeup to cover it up, which was then just cakey and awful until I found someone that said, I can help you with that. So that's what I'm here for today. I'm that person saying to you, oh my gosh, I'm literally getting chills. I'm the one saying to you, I can help you with that. Let me help you with that unwanted brown spots, whether it's a few or a lot, whether they're little spots or maybe continents. So they could be islands, they could be continents. We have solutions for you to help you with that. How do we get that discoloration? Well, I mentioned, the sun. That is probably the biggest thing. And I'm going to ask the team to put up a poll that asks, what do you think causes discoloration? And I'll give them a second to pop that poll up. There it is. I feel like I should insert some Jeopardy music for a moment while you answer the question. And there's no trick questions here. Since we're all friends, we're not going to judge. And I think I can see the poll once they give it a moment to come up. Awesome. You guys did great. Good job. So a lot of you say sun exposure, which is absolutely correct. The answer here is technically all of the above. Can you believe that acne can cause brown spots, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and that is a fancy word for potential discoloration that is left after you've had acne, after you've had maybe a procedure, even laser hair removal. I've seen people that have brown discoloration on their arms, maybe after they've had laser hair removal on their arms. It doesn't mean that the clinician did anything wrong necessarily. It was just your response to that treatment. So we want to be really careful. So actually all of the above. If you have melasma, that's something that you want to be, that needs to be diagnosed by a physician, dermatologist, plastic surgeon, whomever that can diagnose you with that. You want to be real careful if you do have melasma on just getting any type of treatment, because that can make that worse. Things that will spike discoloration, and it just drives me nuts. I've got to tell you, it drives me just bananas, because it could be even just the heat. Maybe the sun's not out, but maybe it's just really hot out, and you'll start to notice brown spots that you have kind of flaring back up and getting darker, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not even sunny out, and it starts to come out. That's when that pigmentation is a little bit deeper within the skin. So you really want to use some advanced clinical and proven products at that point to make sure that you're going to get the best results. When I went to someone, they put me on some good skincare, and I will tell you, I've never looked back, and I've always worn my sunscreen, always. My mom jokes and says, how could you possibly have the nerve to sit and talk to people live about wearing sunscreens when she caught me at home laying on my roof one day of the house? She came home early. Mom, what are you doing to me? And I had, you know, the cardboard thing here. Oh, silly Maren. I had the cardboard thing up with the wrapped in the foil. I was totally busted. But I told her I have learned the error of my ways, and now I am happy to be the biggest advocate for sunscreen. So I'll give you a couple of sunscreen options today. There are so many to choose from. I'll help you try to narrow it down a little bit, and we'll come to that in just a little bit. So those are some of the ways that we can get discoloration. How we treat them, though, happens to be very similar. You have lots of options. We have a few options. I've picked some of my favorites to talk about today, so I'm sorry it was a little gratuitous on my part, but also I feel really good about sharing these with you because I know that you're going to get improvement. Now, when we start treating discoloration, you may notice a few things. Number one, it can take some time. There is no overnight miracle cure for discoloration. And if someone says that there is, I would be a little bit cautious. It takes some time. If you have discoloration that's a little lighter on the surface, maybe more closer to the surface of the skin, it's going to resolve a little quicker. If it's deeper within the skin, or you've got stubborn brown patches, or maybe those little islands are turning into more of continents, that's going to take some time. And when I say some time, it could be a year. So bear with this process. Don't expect it to happen overnight. It took years to get us there. It's going to take us a minute to help resolve some of that. So let's talk about some products, shall we? My first one on board is Glycolic 10 Renew Overnight. This little gem, it's shiny, so it looks even fancier in the camera. This little gem here, I can tell you that when this came out, my team was so excited about it. They were using it every day, and I knew something was different when we met at a big meeting and everybody walked in and their skin looked so good. I mean, not gonna lie, everybody's skin at SkinCeuticals looks pretty darn impressive. But I even noticed, having worked with them for years, that their skin changed. And I was like, what are y'all doing to your skin here? What's happening? And we were all commenting. And it was Glycolic 10 Renew Overnight at that time was the only additional thing that they had added. So if you're looking for help with brightness and glow, this is your go-to. For discoloration, this will definitely help with discoloration. It is for lighter discoloration. If you have more of the continents or the bigger patches like I had, I'm going to suggest something a little bit stronger. So you'll get the full facts from Shari. If you get nothing else, you'll get the real story. Can you use sensitive or Glycolic 10 if you have sensitive skin and rosacea? If you have rosacea, I suggest that you ask your dermatologist if they approve of you using a glycolic product. Reason being, all derms are a little bit different, but most importantly, they know your skin. They see your skin. They can see if you have any acne lesions, things like that. And really with rosacea, we want to be very, very careful and very gentle. Now, if you have sensitive skin alone, can you use this? Yes, you certainly can. You would want to start out a little bit slower and increase up to nightly. Now, I'm going to shake this because it sometimes the water separates in it, which is totally normal. Even on the box, it says to shake well before opening. But I just want to show you, it's really kind of a creamy texture. I mean, I'm not even going to waste it. So you'll use about a nickel-sized amount or so on your face. I'm putting it on my hands because I do love it on my hands. You'll use it every night. If you have that very sensitive skin, I would ask that you start out maybe 3 or 4 nights a week and then move up to nightly. You're not expected to peel or flake from it, but if you're highly sensitive or reactive, you might. It may tingle to start with when you put it on. That's okay. All of our products are highly active. We don't add a lot of extra ingredients and things. So you can anticipate it not smelling like grandma's potpourri with heavy fragrances and things like that. But you could anticipate it feeling a little bit tingly, maybe. If it doesn't feel tingly, it doesn't mean that it is not working. When do we expect this to come back in stock? Literally any minute, any minute. We have experienced some out of stocks, you may notice on LovelySkin for some of our products. And I would like to address it actually, because with COVID, things have certainly changed for all of us, clear down the line, even into manufacturing. So maybe there are manufacturing plants that need to close for a certain amount of time or some things like that. And it has made a difference all the way around, but also the sales for SkinCeuticals have really skyrocketed, even more than before, being the #1 medical brand for at least the last 4 years that I know and am aware of. So that really impacts our inventory. And I can also share with you that we do not make inventory that's, say, a year's worth of inventory. We make it for a short period of time so that when you purchase on LovelySkin.com, that you're getting the freshest product possible. And LovelySkin is so great about continuously turning that over. They don't order months and months and months worth either. So please know that we're doing the best for you, but you're also getting the freshest.
Shari, I have a quick question if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. There have been a couple of questions about using the Glycolic 10 at night and whether or not, I know that it's intended to be used last and leave it on overnight, and standalone. But what if people are using other products? Can they use Glycolic 10 with other things at night?
That is a lovely question, and I'm really so glad that you did ask, because the answer is yes. Undoubtedly, you don't have to use this as a standalone. You can use it with other products. You can layer, for example, a nighttime antioxidant, resveratrol BE. You could put that first and then use this. And then over it, you could put a moisturizer if you like and need a moisturizer. So let's talk about order of products while we're here, shall we? So order of products is always a top question that we get. It's very simple. In my mind, I think thinnest to thickest. But I also know that you guys, you're really wanting to make sure that you do the very best for your skin. And I appreciate the fact that when I spend money on a product, to spend good money on something, I want to make sure I'm giving it the opportunity to be the most efficacious on my skin. So let's do a little bit deeper dive into thinnest to thickest. So in terms of products, if you put on your antioxidant first, let's talk in the morning, antioxidant first, SPF last, everything in the middle is corrective in order of serums, gels, lotions, then creams. So if you look at the bottle, if it's a serum, it's going to go earlier in the game than later. So serums, gels, lotions, creams. At night, it's the exact same principle, but you have a little flexibility if you're using a retinol. So you can use our antioxidant first, which is resveratrol BE, or you can use your retinol first. You have flexibility. Why would you pick one over the other? If you don't know, then go antioxidant first, then retinol. If you've had a dermatologist, maybe Dr. Schlesinger has asked you to put your retinol first, then go with what your dermatologist has said. If you have used a retinol for a long period of time and you're just introducing resveratrol BE, you might like that retinol for a buffer, because resveratrol BE is pretty potent. So you might feel some stinging with that also. So you have some flexibility there. And then the rest is corrective products in order of serums, gels, lotions, creams. And when I talk about corrective product, that also includes your moisturizers like Triple Lipid Restore. I know everybody loves Triple Lipid Restore. Okay, let's see here. I think it's time for a poll. Should we do another poll? I love the polls. Since we're talking about some antioxidants, let's pop up the poll of who uses an antioxidant, and we'll see how that comes up. Do you use an antioxidant? And if so, which one of these daytime antioxidants do you like? We'll wait and see the answer here. Let me take a quick drink. CE Ferulic fans. Okay, nothing yet, but ready to start. Awesome, you guys. I know we're not really talking about antioxidants today. Let me give you the quick down and dirty on how to remember which ones are for what of SkinCeuticals. CE Ferulic is for aging. CE collagen elastin. Floritin CF is our discoloration antioxidant. Think P for pigmentation, and Silymarin CF is for those with oily or acne prone skin. Think S for sebum. Okay, thank you for that poll, and thank you for that question. Now, this is super great for helping to brighten your skin and getting the glow. If we want something a little bit stronger, Advanced Pigment Corrector is going to be your friend there. So Advanced Pigment Corrector has been around for quite some time. It's really good at treating lighter discoloration. So any of those brown spots that you have on your face, hands, neck, décolleté, Advanced Pigment Corrector is a cream. You'll use 1 to 2 pumps, and you'll use this morning and night, not just nighttime. So morning and night. Could you use these two together? Yes, you can. So again, in order of thickness, so you would actually use this one first and this one over it. So you can use the two together. If we want something even a little stronger than Advanced Pigment Corrector, which is great on its own, I use this. I used this for probably 4 or 5 years, and it made a significant impact in my skin. So I have a lot of love for Advanced Pigment Corrector. Then when Discoloration Defense came out, I'm going to be honest with you, I said, not sure, guys, because I really like the Advanced Pigment Corrector. What's so great about this one in particular? Well, this one works on all 4 stages of discoloration. What are those stages? Without getting too sciencey on you, we've got the activation stage, which is where your skin has been alerted that there is damage to the skin. The skin's response to damage is inflammation. So your skin has been notified that there's damage or an injury, which could be, anything that causes post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, picking at your skin, so you might get an acne mark that's left, or sun damage. All of those things create that inflammatory response. Then we move into production of melanin. Then that melanin transfers to a living cell, and then it migrates to the surface. So things are happening from very low to very high within the skin in those 4 stages. So we really want something, especially for those of us with deeper pigmentation, we want something that works really low in our skin, and that is Discoloration Defense. Discoloration Defense has been proven to work on all 4 stages. With that, you can expect some really great results. We saw an average improvement for people that have really stubborn brown patches, about a 60% improvement in those stubborn brown patches. And in the world of skin and discoloration, especially because it's so difficult to treat, honestly, that's impressive. Like that's kind of a big deal. So Discoloration Defense would be used morning and night. It is a serum, so it comes in a dropper formula, and you would want to use, see the liquidy there? Use 3 to 5 drops. Warm it in your skin and apply it to your face, neck, décolleté, wherever you like. I'm putting it on my hands and arms because I'm not wasting it. It's great. It works really, really well. When it first came out, I was the naysayer. I needed to see the proof. I needed to see the science. So they proved that with me. And then we went on to use it, and I started noticing, and you might notice this too, if you've got those big stubborn brown patches, that my patches started to break up, and they went from more islands or continents, I would say, to islands. They started to break up and get smaller. That is a great sign for those of us with real deep discoloration. Take some time, work through that process, because this is going to be a key product for you. Now, let's move on real quick to one of my favorite topics, but not everybody else's. So we'll touch on it quickly, which is sunscreen. No discoloration treatment will do you a lick of good, as my dad would say. Will do you a lick of good if you don't wear an SPF. What SPF is best for you? Well, honestly, the one that you're willing to use on a daily basis. That's the one that's going to be best for you. Typically, we think of those with discoloration needing a physical block versus a chemical block. So that has been the story up until recently. So a lot of our SPFs are physical blocks, like this one, Physical Fusion SPF 50. This particular one is tinted. We have the exact same one in a non-tinted sheer version. This is very hydrating. I put on enough to do my whole face. Now, let me tell you about how much SPF to use. You put it on until you go, ooh, that's too much. That's just about enough. Exactly. So if you're using look how pretty that is. See how I've got a little discoloration on my hands and how nicely that blended. Now, will this blend with all skin tones? It'll blend through about a Fitzpatrick 4 or so. What's a Fitzpatrick 4? Maybe a Hispanic or Asian skin, it should blend real nicely. Now, what do you do when you want that to blend? Because even for me, I've got olive undertones. You're going to want to pat and roll. When you pat and roll, it will blend nicely with a lot of skin tones. So if we're a little darker and we've got that darker, beautiful skin, we have this exact same formulation, only in a sheer. So you won't have any of those color spheres, and it'll blend in beautifully. Those are the two that I picked to speak to today because they are hot fan favorites. So you can't really go wrong with either one of those two. They're both physical blocks. We have also, I said, primarily physical blocks have been the one that you want to look for until we launched the Daily Brightening UV Defense Sunscreen. That's a chemical block, but it's been proven to help to improve the brightness in your skin. So you can also look at that one. Then before we open it to questions, let us put out another poll. If you've heard of our new launch, we have a brand new launch that launched just a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact. So let's see if we've heard of what it is. No pressure if you haven't, it's totally okay. People now are hitting LovelySkin real quick. What's the newest launch? What is it? Let me tell you, it is advanced scar control. Okay, most of us have not heard it. Advanced scar control. It's hot off the press. Don't feel bad if you haven't heard of it yet. I have a little bit of FOMO, so I have been aware of this for a long time. This has been in the works for years to come to market. So and the reason it doesn't have a lid on it is because this is mine. This is the one that I use. I recently had knee surgery. I tripped over my dogs, bless their little pointy-headed hearts, but I tripped over them and fell down the stairs and tore my knee up. Anyway, so I had surgery, so I've been using this, and I'm very impressed. I know how I scar, I know how I heal, and it's definitely helping thus far. What makes this great is it has, let me turn it around so you can see it the right way. So it has silicones in it. It has 95% silicones, which help to cover that scar, helps to keep it hydrated, and helps keep bacteria out. It also has allantoin, which helps to soothe the scar so it doesn't want to start itching. That's kind of the devil. When it starts to itch and we want to itch it, the response then is inflammation, which we don't want our skin to be bothered with inflammation for very long. It's different if you go to have a procedure and you have an inflammatory response from a laser treatment. That you want. It's controlled and it's short-term, but you don't want that for a long period of time. So this will help with that, that itching that can create that inflammatory response, as well as just damaging that scar. And it sends a signal to your skin to produce collagen in that area to heal it. And if it sends too much collagen, you can get a raised scar. You can get a lot of different things that happen from a scar. So we want to keep it calm. We want to keep it hydrated. It also has 2% fatty acids in it, which help keep it nice and hydrated. So who could use this? Really? I mean, I know my opinion doesn't mean a whole lot at this point. However, think about how often you can get a scar or what will cause a scar. You can get a scar from a mosquito bite, not just a surgery. You can get a scar from getting something out of the oven and burning yourself. I constantly seem to burn myself up here from a curling iron or a flat iron trying to curl my hair. So I think every household should have this amazing advanced scar control and just keep it in your first aid kit. I'm just curious. Let's throw up a poll. Has anybody ever burned themselves even? Have you burned yourself with a curling iron or taking something out of the oven? Surely I'm not the only one that has done that. I joke with my husband that I've got a burn still on my forearm that I say that's my signal for I should not be in the kitchen. I was not meant to be in the kitchen for very long. I joked when I met him that the only thing I know how to make for dinner is reservations. So yes, I mean, oh no, one person burns themselves every day. You poor baby. Once in a while, it's the worst. I know burns are the worst. So this product can help with that. You want to use it at least a couple of times a day. It is a nice gel formulation. I'll show you. See how thick it is? It doesn't run, it doesn't move. It is not like a Vaseline consistency. It does not heat up on the body and move and run. So if you're trying to keep it somewhere specific, like I keep mine on my knee, it's clear. So no matter what skin tone you are, you can still wear this and people aren't going to see it. It's not super shiny, so it doesn't stand out like a sore thumb either. So there is my soapbox moment for the scar control. And I will jump off of that soapbox because I'm super passionate about it. Okay, I think we have a few minutes left. Should we open for questions? Are we ready for that?
Oh, girl, we have so many questions for you.
Okay, let's do it. I'm taking a water, my voice ready.
All right. Excuse me. I'm going to get some water too.
All right.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
So I'm going to start with the questions that are directly related yet to discoloration. But then I have to say we have a lot of interesting one-off questions too. So we're going to try to cover as much as possible here. So thank you all so much for bringing in such great questions. All right. So one of the first ones, and you talked a little bit about the rosacea and hyperpigmentation, but can we just sort of revisit that? Because some individuals have commented that their physicians have recommended they not use anything like a glycolic. So I know it's a bit dicey. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. You know, and my SkinCeuticals brain says that I need to say, you need to ask your dermatologist. My esthetician brain also confirms, you know, I probably would not use a glycolic on anyone with rosacea. Would I be more open to looking at discoloration defense or the advanced pigment corrector? I would be more open to that. Anytime you have something with acids, and quite frankly, let's see, either one I would ask your dermatologist about. The glycolic, they're probably not going to approve of that. But again, it depends on your particular skin, what your rosacea is like, what stage is it at, what degree do you have, that kind of thing. And I'm sorry, it's a little bit of a non-answer, but it's the best answer that I can give without seeing your skin in particular. Because we want to do our best by you.
I think that's fair. I know it's not the answer everybody might be looking for, but it's definitely fair. Okay, so speaking of all these discoloration products, are they safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women?
Oh, that's a great question too. You know, we have safety tested every single product that we have for safety and efficacy on non-pregnant or non-breastfeeding women. We have never tested on breastfeeding or pregnant women. Not many women are going to want to sign up for that study. You know what I'm saying? They're not really going to want to be down for that one. So there again, I'm going to refer you to your OBGYN to ask. Certain things I know for sure they're not going to approve of are going to be the glycolic products, retinols. They're not going to approve that for sure. Other products, ask them. Each one is a little different. Your situation is a little bit different.
Understood. Okay, staying in that same range, still talking about discoloration. And if someone has tried hydroquinone, they've tried tretinoin, they've tried even, Lytera, what would you recommend as a SkinC really hard-hitting regimen for somebody who's like, I've tried these things and I know one single product is not where most likely going to land.
Okay. So now you're completely in my zone because that's where I was, and I lived there for a long time. I will tell you that it took me probably a year and a half of diligent, never missing a day use of skincare morning and night. So if you feel like you've used everything and nothing is working, here's your regimen. Okay, whether we've talked about it today or not. Floritin CF, that's your morning antioxidant. You don't need to use it at night, but morning only. Floritin CF, 3 to 5 drops. Floritin as an ingredient is specifically for discoloration. Okay. Then I would do discoloration defense morning and night, like it's your job. Put it on every day. If you then have went to the gym and you're washing your face, put it on again 3 times. Who cares? It certainly cannot hurt you, right? So do that. Then at night, I would, if your skin will tolerate it, I would do a retinol. So I would go stronger than the Glycolic 10, and I would do a retinol. If you haven't used a retinol before, and when I say before, and mine's a little crinkly because I do use it, if you haven't used one lately, start with the 0.3%. And please don't think that a retinol isn't very strong, because these guys pack a punch. But there are also some ingredients in there that will help soothe and calm your skin as much as a retinol can. Start with this 3 to 4 nights a week, work up to every single day. Don't take a break, go for it. You might peel, burn, flake, itch, sting, be red or pink. It's okay. Push through it, push through it. There's a hump that you need to push through. Now, if your skin feels raw, doesn't happen very often, but if it feels raw, then slow down. If it's just peeling and flaky and kind of irritating, push through it, ladies and gentlemen, push through it and get over that hump. Once you're able to use the 0.3, an entire tube, and you're perfectly fine, you have no effects from it at all, move up in strength to the 0.5, same scenario, and then move up to the 1.0. That is going to be your best power-packed regimen. And I would actually suggest using the Physical Fusion UV Defense SPF 50. If you are combination, normal or dry, you should like this. If you are oily, I would use the Physical Matte sunscreen, because that will be a game changer, lifesaver. Gotcha. It helps to absorb oil. So I'm sorry, that was a long answer, but I really wanted to make sure we hit that one.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Okay, so if we're talking with folks today like myself who discoloration it's a priority, right? But then you also have to think about anti-aging. Like, and so I know you've talked a little bit about a couple of the serums, but what would be like your top 1 or 2 recommendations for layering in some sort of intensive anti-aging to go along with that renewal on the pigmentation side of things?
Okay, perfect. So a serum that I think that we can't live without if we're talking about discoloration is the Floritin CF, just because it's the strongest, most power-packed. And mind you, the regimen that I'm talking about today, the products we've talked about, everything can be used on any skin type and any skin tone. So it does not matter. If you are using discoloration defense, is it going to bleach your skin? If you are a lovely darker skin tone, is it going to leave like a lighter patch? No, it is not. So those are lifestyle products that you can use. So Floritin CF is without a doubt something we need to add. Now, switching off of serums just a little bit, if we're using a retinol and you haven't used it before, I have mentioned it might pack a punch. So your best friend then is going to be Triple Lipid Restore 242. It helps to keep your skin calm and hydrated. It'll help with the itch, but it also helps with skin laxity. So when we're talking anti-aging, that's going to help with laxity. But Floritin, even though it is specifically, it's an anti-aging antioxidant with its eye on discoloration, but it is an antioxidant. So its number one goal is actually anti-aging.
Great. I love it. I was
Yeah.
going to ask about that hydration thing. So that's perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So if someone has redness, the sun damage or redness from those types of things, what would you add for redness relief and correction?
So for redness relief, we have the redness neutralizer, and I don't believe I have one with me at the moment, but redness neutralizer is great. And for those with rosacea, it may not treat the rosacea, but it can help with the effects of rosacea with the redness in your skin. If you have a sunburn or your skin is just irritated, maybe glycolic or retinol is kind of irritating your skin, the phytocorrective mask, mwah, it is amazing. We use that all the time here at our house. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and it is one of her favorites, along with triple lipid, by the way. So there's no age restriction to triple lipid restore, even though it's an anti-aging product.
Nice. All right. Okay. So we've got some questions for best four recommendations. So I'm just going to rapid fire these at you because we've got quite a few of them.
Okay, let's do it. I'm repositioning here. I'm getting ready. Okay.
All right. So best for under eye sagging and wrinkles.
AGEI complex.
Okay.
There if you go, really want to, hold on, if you really want to make a really good impact, do the AOX eye gel and then put the AGEI complex on over it.
Nice combo.
That's good.
That. Okay, how about skin tightening?
Oh, that's so tough. Tightening, I would say CE ferulic and or resveratrol BE. Resveratrol BE is our nighttime antioxidant. CE ferulic is our daytime. They're both going to help with collagen and elastin. Resveratrol BE in our clinical study showed an improvement of 18.9% in firmness and elasticity.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a bath in that business.
I know. And I'm just thinking, gosh, that's in my skincare bag. I need to make sure I use it every night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to just say Sharon has a clarifying question, and I feel like I know the answer to this because vitamin C is an awesome brightener. She just wants to make sure that she can include vitamin C and peptides and growth factors all kind of in the same regimen, especially if she's dealing still with this hyperpigmentation.
Yes, you absolutely can. Absolutely. And the growth factors might want to go on first. Take a look at the growth factor you're using. And if it's a serum, then I would put that on first and then put your antioxidant second. If it is a little bit more of a heavy texture, then do your antioxidant first.
Okay, that's great to think about. All right. Many of us have experienced this, and a lot of us in our bikini region, but also a lot of people on their face, especially men after shaving and things like that. What about the discoloration after shaving, and some people even after laser treatments? Because, those of us with brown skin, we tend to be a little more reactive to those things. Do you have recommendations for that type of discoloration? Great.
Yeah. So discoloration for bikini area, now I've got to be careful to say we have not safety tested it, so I should not officially be saying it. However, if you did it in the comfort of your own home, advanced pigment corrector would be great for that. You could use it on your arm, you could use it on your face, you can kind of use that wherever for treatment of that. It's very gentle, but very effective at the same time. Don't use it in any area, use it on the outside of your skin only. If you know what I'm saying.
We got you, girl. Thank you for clarifying. We got to be careful.
Yep.
There is, and I think that this is generally true of most moisturizers. This question is specifically about HA intensifier, but I think as far as like that kind of intense hydration, The question is about whether or not you should only use it morning or just at night or morning and night. And I feel like whatever level of hydration your skin needs, you can give it, but you maybe have a different perspective than I do.
Well, I think your perspective is very good. I would like to add something to that for
Go for it.
HA. Okay, HA intensifier in particular, that's our little purple guy here that comes out a little bit pinkish. HA intensifier does actually three things. So not only does it provide surface hydration, which is what we're speaking about, it helps to amplify your skin's own hyaluronic acid content in the skin. So it'll help plump your skin from the inside out. And it also helps with the breakdown of hyaluronic acid in your skin. So there's an enzyme called hyaluronidase, and it helps to slow that down. So your breakdown. So when you think of HA intensifier, think of that as a corrective serum that's going to work from the inside out in stimulating your hyaluronic acid more so than even just a surface hydrator.
Okay.
It's a power pack guy for not a whole lot of money for what it does.
Right.
And you definitely want to use it twice a day.
Okay. I like it.
Can I give you one other little hint on that? A little pro tip? If you put on too much, your skin will tell you, because it will ball up. And I am a little heavy-handed with this because I want all the plumping action that I can get. When I do that, it'll kind of ball off, and that's your cue for you're using too much. You don't need to use a lot with SkinCeuticals products.
That is a great note to self. We talked a little bit earlier about layering products in the evening. Specific question related to layering with retinol within the Skin C line. So is there a recommended, hey, if you're doing the discoloration stuff and you're using other things than just the retinol, what regimen you would, or order that you would recommend putting them on in?
Yeah, absolutely. So PM, if you're using our antioxidant resveratrol BE, you can put that first or the retinol, either one. You have flexibility there. It does not matter.
Okay.
But your retinol would want to come first before anything else, even if it's a serum. So we're going to do retinol first, then other products in order of serums, gels, lotions, creams.
Got it.
Especially when we're talking discoloration. We want the strongest product closest to the skin.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
So when we're thinking about the retexturizer, how does a person know that the activator is ready? Or with the glycolic, like that's done, and they can move on. Or with the glycolic 10, like when is a good time to layer on? How much time should I give it?
How much time do we need to wait?
Yep.
Oh, I love it. So anytime you put on any product, once it feels lightly tacky, move on to the next one. What that is for you depends on how quickly your skin absorbs. I can't give you an exact time, but I mean, really like 30 seconds should be plenty of time. Even the most advanced skincare regimen really only should take a couple minutes to apply everything.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, just go. Next.
I like it. Keep moving.
Right. Keep it going. If I hear someone say, I just don't have time at night, I can't even be your friend, because surely you've got 2 minutes while you're catching up on the Real Housewives to plop something on real quick.
we can do that for sure.
Yeah.
Is there any difference in treating like hereditary brown spots versus the discoloration we get from ourselves, or we give ourselves by not using sunscreen?
Right. So typically hereditary brown spots are still influenced and made worse by sun. So yes, you still want to use your sunscreen, you'll still use the same products. The only difference really is if it's underneath your eyes. If that is hereditary in your family, a product isn't necessarily going to correct that. In fact, darkness in general isn't something necessarily corrected. It can just be made less noticeable. For eyes, AGE Eye Complex is great because it has optical diffusers that help to brighten the eye as well as help with crow's feet, fine lines, and all that good stuff.
Okay, now would you, and you haven't specified, so I'm assuming that that's the same for across the spectrum of skin types and colors?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Exactly.
I
I'm
know
really
I'm
proud.
sensitive to, because I know, like, I'm real light in the winter, but as soon as the sun comes out, my Jamaican jeans feel like they need to brown up sort of immediately. So
Absolutely.
I can
No,
appreciate
if
that.
and I love that question too. If there were something that we need to be a little bit careful on, I would certainly tell you. I'm really proud that all of our products can be used on all skin tones.
That's great.
So it does not matter. Love that. One
Nice.
thing you might not want to do, regardless of skin tone, is spot treat with discoloration defense. Let's say you've got a brown patch right here,
Mhm.
still apply it all over your face. If you want to do a second application, you can, it's not needed, but you could then double down on that spot. But anytime you just spot treat something, you might create a halo effect. Again, we're not bleaching down your skin. That's not what this does. It just kind of relaxes the melanin in that area to not be over hyper like this. So we're just kind of calming it down, but we don't want to create any type of a halo.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, this might be a little bit outside of your wheelhouse, but there's an interesting question that Jasper wants to ask about the LHA cleanser, which
Okay.
is getting 5 stars here,
Okay.
but also wanting to just ask that if Skinsy's ever thought about putting that in a pump bottle.
Oh, I'm sure they have. I didn't think about it, but now, Jasper, I'm going to be obsessed with that thought. I don't know. I know that we are very particular in how we dispense things.
Mhm.
I suppose we could always just add it to our own pump, but that's a great question, and I'll take that feedback and send it to the company. I
There
like
you
it.
go. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for the idea, Jasper.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we talked about fine lines and discoloration. How about large pores? Is there anything in particular you might point to for that?
Yes, Natasha. I tell you, I live in Iowa, and not only do I live in a cornfield, I feel like sometimes my pores, we could plant corn in that, as we say around here when we have large pores. So, yes, some things to help with pores are certainly retinol. Retinol will absolutely help with the appearance of pores. Silymarin CF, which is our newest launch for antioxidant, it helps with anti-aging, but it's directly designed for those with oily or acne-prone skin, and it has done such a good job on my pores. Like I totally fangirled over Silymarin CF. Another thing to help with pores is the clarifying clay mask. If you like masking at home, I loved a mask, and that will help with pore size, as well as Triple Lipid Restore 242 helps with pore size. Now, I'll give you a little pro tip. If you like to mask at home like I do, take clarifying clay mask, and you can either mix it with blemish plus age defense if you're really acne prone and break out, or you can mix it with retexturing activator that we briefly spoke to. So if you have that already, or you want to get it, hop on lovelyskin.com and grab it. Mix about maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons, something like that.
Yep.
Do 1 to 2 full pipettes of the product, mix it together. It's not going to mix easily, I'm not going to lie, because it's a real thick clay and a liquid. You got to marry them. Put
Okay,
it on, leave it on for 15 to 20 minutes. Oh, amazing.
nice. So, with all of these recommendations you've been making, which have been amazing for dealing with discoloration, I mean, such great information. Would there be anything that you would add to or change to that regimen for someone who is, and in my opinion, Marty, you are not as old as you, the giant old in capital letters at 81. I think you're doing great. But would there be anything that you would add to that for someone who is got more advanced aging and potentially drier skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And no one is old here for
I'm
sure.
with
And we
you
just
on
want
that.
to, yeah, no one is old here. We just want to help you look the best in your own skin.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that maybe we have touched on or haven't touched on that would be key for you is HA intensifier, because that's the kind of reddish one in the purple bottle. It's got proxylane, purple rice extract, dipotassium glycyrrhizate, all fancy things for helping to stimulate your hyaluronic acid. So if you've started to notice like the line in between your glabella, marionette lines, nasolabial folds, sagging, jowls, any of those things, forehead lines, this is going to be your bestie. Also, you would love Triple Lipid Restore. It helps with tone, texture, laxity. Use that if you are combination, dry, somewhere in that realm, normal. If you're really oily, you're not going to like that. If you're pretty oily, hydrating B5 gel would be your friend, or daily moisture.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. We are at 2 o'clock and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So I want to say thank you and really appreciate everybody joining us. We do have one additional question that I think might be of interest to everyone. So if you want to hear it, stick around. Otherwise, just really grateful you all could be here. We have such a great community, and the questions you guys shot out today are awesome. So thank you. The last question that I want to ask, I think everyone will be really interested in this, is what are the main ingredients in your pigmentation and discoloration products, and what is special about them for these, that makes them different than other product lines?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. So discoloration defense is really the latest technology for discoloration. And I would love to share actually the ingredients and why we felt it was so important. So if you remember, I talked about those 4 stages of pigmentation. The first one being the inflammatory response. That's our skin's response to an injury, and sun damage is an injury to our skin. So this has 3% tranexamic acid, or TXA for short. Its main focus is helping with that inflammatory response. In fact, we use the most tranexamic acid that you can put in a product. If it's in some others, other brands, they'll put in 1%. Nothing wrong with that. We've just went full bore because in our clinical evaluation, in that instance, more the better for that. Then we have, of course, a 1% kojic acid, which helps with brightness. And as the name implies, it also helps with cellular turnover. It's got 5% niacinamide, or it's also known as vitamin B3, to help with brightening, and 5% HEPAs. And I always feel like I want to say that the wrong way, but it helps to break the bonds that gel our dead skin cells together. So when we want to lift that discoloration, that 5% HEPAs, it carries a pretty big load on kind of breaking those bonds, and then it can lift and exfoliate those dead skin cells. So this works on all 4 stages of pigmentation. That's why it's a lifestyle product. You don't have to start and stop from it, which also is nice versus some other things that you need to take a break from. You don't need to. And another note for this is it may, not always, may get darker before it gets lighter. So for all of you on that pigmentation journey, please know that depending on how deep it is, it may get darker first, because think of it like an ice cream scoop. You've got to come into your skin, grab that pigmentation and pull it out. So it may come, with quite a bit of scoop coming out of there. It's okay. Don't give up on the products. That's the number one key takeaway for me, for you, is regardless of what you're using, use something strong and powerful, but don't stop it. Don't stop until it's worked its way all the way out.
A really great reminder, because we're so used to instant gratification, that the reminder that you have to stick with it is really, really good. So thank you so much, Sherry. Again, I just appreciate so much when you share what's in your brain because there's so much there.
I know,
And
I was like, it's over already. Like I could literally go on forever, but
I
thank
know. It's awesome. Thank you. And to our community, thank you so much for joining us. These are made so much better for us because you are a part of it and the questions that you bring. So we really appreciate that. And if you have other questions, feel free to email us at our customer care team. They're really well educated as well. And if we don't have an answer or we feel like we find better information for you, we'll call Sherry.
you.
So you'll get the best information possible. All right. Thank you so much. And I wish you all a really wonderful rest of the day.